And what is up, everyone? I'm Joe DeHoyos. I am the host of Beyond the Woodline. And today I have with me Rich and Audra from the West Suburban Paranormal Investigations. How you guys doing today?
Doing well.
Doing good. How are you doing?
That's good. Yeah, man. We got in here right at the deadline.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, it's always an adventure. Yeah.
I'm
We-
not the most technical, so it takes a while for me to get all that stuff set up.
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, yeah, I definitely get it. There's a lot of people have issues with it. I had issues with it at first. Now it's like, man, I fly through this stuff so fast, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah. So, where you guys at exactly? Can you don't have to give me your exact
Aurora.
address. Where?
No, Aurora, Illinois.
Illinois.
It's
Okay,
about 40 miles west of Chicago.
okay. How's the weather there?
Beautiful,
Hot.
actually. Wow. She says hot. I say beautiful. Yesterday, it was in the hundreds.
Yeah.
Today, it's in the 80s. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is terrible down here. Man, it's just I think it's been 100 degrees every day for the last week, and the heat index is like 104, 105, something like
Oh
that.
my God.
Well, get a
Yeah,
cart
it's
when
just,
you go golfing. No
Ugh.
problem.
yeah, yeah. Actually, I used to golf, but I stopped. I need to start doing it again. Yeah.
Anytime you're up in this area.
Okay. Okay. Good deal. Yeah. I can't promise you I'll do any good, but I'll drink a lot of beer.
I'm not saying I golf very well either, and I do it every Tuesday with the league, and
Okay.
Sometimes alcohol makes it better.
yeah,
Yeah. Here you
well, it
go.
makes it more fun.
Yeah, it makes it more fun. Yeah, it makes it more fun. That's for sure. So, if you guys don't mind, tell us a little bit about yourselves and what got you into the world of paranormal.
She did.
I've always been interested in the paranormal, and weird things have always kind of happened to me. I've been able to notice after my pets pass away, they'll come to me. And that happened since I was in my early 20s.
Mhm.
And then those ghost hunting shows came on TV, and I was just so excited by them. And I told Richard that, for Christmas, all I want to do is go on a ghost hunt with the local area team or something. And he never did it, so I had to do it by myself. So I found a Facebook page of a local team that was looking for people. So I joined up and I met a bunch of some really great people. Didn't always agree with the leader. So four of us decided to make a team by ourselves almost 5 years ago, almost about 4.5 years ago in October.
Oh, that's
And
right.
so since then, things have opened up for me. It's like the third eye opened up, and I have
Right.
had crazy experiences since then.
So, are you being literal when you talk about the third eye?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here I am at 50 years old, right? And I've experienced more stuff than I've ever experienced my whole life. I
Mhm.
really like opened up my mind and my third eye for that matter.
Mhm.
And it's just amazing what happens whenever you allow that to happen, And
Right.
uh, yeah, I'm really blown away by it. I was
There
the
just
guy
isn't
who,
any other explanation because if I'm in bed and I have my glasses off, I'm blind as a bat.
Yes, she
And
right,
is.
yet I can see people as if the lights are on and I have my glasses on. So it's got to
right,
be the third eye.
yeah, or you're laying in bed and you're not asleep. You're just laying in bed. You got your eyes closed. The room is dark, and I'm seeing these faces and I'm seeing these images,
Hmm.
Um, and I actually been wanting to talk to my neighbor about the last image I saw was like Saturday or Sunday morning. I saw a lady in a wheelchair, and I don't know what that was about.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, and she was being helped out of the wheelchair. She was like going into a house, so and it was
Hmm.
just it was just so weird. And I've seen just weird stuff flash in front of my face, and flash in front of my eyes.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, so
And he's the
it's
biggest debunker. But I'll wake up and I'll be like, what the heck was that? And he'll go, I don't know, but I saw that thing too. And he's the skeptic, but
yeah,
he's had experiences. He's gotten pinched and touched and
right.
nah.
Once I got patted on the butt.
Oh,
I
hey,
was in somebody's way. I was actually backing up, and I thought I had bumped the wall, but when I turned around, the wall was still a foot away from me.
right.
Something stopped me from moving, and no idea.
Huh,
But
right.
nobody was close to
So,
me.
well,
Always
that's
a
not a
fun
bad
story.
thing. That's not a
No,
bad
it's
thing.
not something. A little pat on the butt. Just
Just a
stop
pat on the
you.
butt. Hey, go get them, Tiger. That's probably what they were saying.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the weirdest thing we've seen so far has been up in the room We have a portal in our closet, is what you say?
Yeah.
So I woke up and there was a huge, massive shadow that ran from one side of the room to the other side. To me, it looked like it had wings and it was pointing.
Huh.
No explanation. I blinked twice and it didn't go away. And then it did. And it was just one of those things where I'm going, okay, I saw that.
Right.
But I mean, I can't debunk it. I can't say it was paranormal because it was night. We were tired. It could have been something else. Who knows?
Right.
But I will not jump down that paranormal path first.
Right.
You got to look into everything. You know,
Right.
I mean, we do have a fan up there on the ceiling, so but this covered the fan. So
yeah, I was gonna say let's hear that explanation about the fan.
Right, exactly.
yeah. Go ahead with your theory about the fan in the shadow that went across the room.
Right.
And like
How long has
it
that fan been in the
always-
room?
Yes.
You know,
I mean, you can't always debunk, but someone brings me an orb, a picture of an orb, and it has wings and you can see the thorax. It's not an orb.
Right.
It's a night shot of a bug.
Right.
I
Or
think that's
fairy,
the
but,
biggest
you
thing
know.
our team
You
is.
know,
is
well,
our
that's
team
the other
is-
part. She
Our
wanted to
team
say
is
that.
very divided on orbs. It's some of us believe and some of us do not at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's too many
And-
ways to debunk it. So
Right. And I totally get that. In the house that I lived in, we had a lot of paranormal activity going on. And from time to time, we would break out with our phones and with video, and there would be like hundreds of orbs, and I'm talking hundreds of orbs just flying around the room. And I'm like, there's just no way that this was just bugs or dust or droplets. Um, I think that house itself was some kind of a portal. I really do.
Yeah,
There's a
it could be.
possibility.
Yeah.
And because we had so much activity, people that would come over would experience stuff. Non-believers would come over to that house and experience stuff, you know. And yeah, so yeah, that house was crazy. I talk about it all the time. I'm sure people don't want to hear me talk about it, but yeah, there's been and I lost those videos. I do have one video where there was orbs coming, but we all took videos. I'm talking about me, my family, my 3 kids. Well, we just saw, literally hundreds of orbs just crisscrossing the room. That's like, there's no way
how
these were
good was the
bugs.
cameras? How good were the cameras?
They were iPhones.
Okay.
All right, so it's possible that we could stop the frame, zoom in on it, and see what
Yeah,
what
you
it
know
is.
what?
I mean,
I actually do have one of a really, really good little orb where it goes straight and then it just takes off and makes a real sharp turn.
Oh,
I ought to
nice.
send you, I need to send you that one. And
Those are hard to explain, especially when they're not bugs, because the dust isn't going to make that sort of trajectory.
right, but bugs, we got a fly buzzing around in the sunlight here. So,
but this was in the dead of night, and the only the only thing we had was I think the had a flash on it, but yeah.
We have 2 huge dogs. He'll be back in just a second.
Okay,
To make our entire attention.
Yeah, I totally get that. I had a boxer, and he passed in 2019. And it's funny that you talked about animal spirits because there was a couple times after he passed that I kind of felt that he was around. And
hey, you treated him well. Why wouldn't he hang around?
Yeah. I don't remember which. I've got 2 girls. One of them had told me one time that they could feel him like brushing up against their leg because he was a big dog, and he would do that. He thought he was a puppy. He was a 75-pound boxer, and he thought he was a puppy.
Lap dog.
Yeah. The bigger they are, the more lap dog they think they are.
Yeah, you could sit down Indian style on the floor to watch TV, and he'd come and sit right in your lap, like
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like, what are you doing? He was such a great dog.
It's comforting though. It's comforting when you know that they're coming back and they're saying hi to you and that they're okay. It's nice to know.
Yeah. He was a good dog, and I think part of that was that house again. It was that house.
Yeah. I mean, if it holds them, it holds them.
They could attract the energy as well, especially if there's a portal door that opens. You could have a guy who's passed away and he's 3 blocks away, but he's going to see this door open. Hey, let's go on through.
Right, there you go.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that, though.
Actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We might have had all the activity that we had because to some point, we thought it was the owners, the original owners of that house. They were
Mhm.
not only were they the original owners, but they were the only ones who had ever lived in that house until we
Okay.
moved in.
Wow.
And so we kind of figured it was them, but at the same time, we heard stuff and we saw stuff, and like, this wasn't these people. I don't want to say their last names, but
Don't
Right.
worry about it.
we're like, we didn't think it was those people, and it just didn't sound like them. It sounded like someone wearing big, heavy, like work boots.
Okay.
Work boots. Well, maybe he was in the military.
Or
No,
the
no, no.
original
Oh
builder
no,
of the
no, he
house.
wasn't. And then he was a tiny guy. I
Oh,
Oh,
I I I personally had known him for about uh man, at least 18, 20 years, and the person that I was with, yeah, she was a baby when she moved in, maybe 5 or 6 years old. So she knew him her whole life, and
mhm.
like I said, we saw figures and shadow figures in that house, and we're like, nah, I don't think that was them. But
Right.
whatever was there, it you know we never got scared of it or felt any kind of fear from it.
yeah. If
Yeah.
there's not, I mean, if it's not doing any harm to you, why would you want to tempt it? I mean, why would you start talking? We get people who, they start taping in their own house.
Right.
If nothing is bothering you, why would you invite something in? Because that's what you're doing. When you start taping and you start doing that stuff, you are inviting things into your
Mhm.
house. Not a good idea. Never is.
Right. Um, and that was another thing. We did do an EVP one night when my daughter saw a shadow go from one corner of the room to the other corner,
Mhm.
and he did do an EVP, but that was the only time we ever tried to do anything because it was like that was like the first real physical thing that any of us had seen at that point.
Mhm. Right.
And so even though at that point we'd all have been touched and poked and uh, felt the bed, someone sitting down on the bed, that was the first visual that anyone had had. So
Oh,
uh,
neat.
yeah, yeah. And then after that, then I had my visual, and I woke up like at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I saw this dark figure standing next to the bed, and it moved towards me, and I kicked at it. But that was me being scared. It wasn't,
Right.
you know, it wasn't. I don't think whatever it was trying to scare me, but
No, but
It was just curious.
yeah.
yeah. And I that looked more like a lady.
Huh?
Okay.
It looked like a lady in a dress, and
Mhm.
but yeah, that was pretty
I
scary.
mean, you're not still living in that house, are you?
No,
Oh, okay. I mean,
no, but that house still has activity in it.
well, that's the
Hmm.
thing. That house needs to be cleansed. It needs to be cleaned out. It needs to have.
If they're not bothering anybody.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
they're not bothering anyone, and no one there is scared. You know,
Oh,
Okay.
all right. Maybe
you know,
not.
so, yeah. I mean, like I said, it freaks you out no more than if you walk around the corner and there's someone standing there. Even if it's
Exactly.
your own family member,
Right.
that wasn't trying to scare you. But
Well, yeah. Anytime you open your eyes in your bedroom and there's someone standing next to you, you're going to scream.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't scream, but
I do.
yeah. You know, one day after I had left that house, my daughter called me and she was like, "Hey, I made some tacos. Um, if you want, come pick them up." I said, "Okay." So I drove by there, and her boyfriend at the time was there, and we started telling him stories about the house, but he was real skeptic. And we told
Mhm.
him, I said, "Dude, the faucets come on in the restroom. The shower had that big knob that you had to pull out and then turn, left and right for
Uh-huh.
hot or cold. The shower would come on by itself, and even the kitchen faucets would come on. And we were sitting in the kitchen and we're talking to him. We had a big tall table. We could stand around and talk. And he was just kind of shaking his head no, like he didn't believe us. And right at that time, the faucet came on in the kitchen.
Somebody was helping you with your case. That's
Yeah.
all it
Yeah.
was too.
And he turned around. He walked to the kitchen sink and he turned it off. And he opened up the bottom cabinets. He's looking underneath it, and he's like,
In case
"I'm like,
someone was
dude,
under there turning it on for you.
yeah, yeah, that was pretty funny." But yeah, yeah, but that house still to this day has activity in it, from what I understand. My son still
Hmm.
goes there from time to time. So yeah.
It's interesting. I wonder if it's something to do with the land, if there's like a ley line under it or something.
We actually questioned ourselves about that too.
Mhm.
We think there was something there, and uh, because that house was built right after World War II, and it's a big, huge neighborhood now. But
Mhm.
I imagine back then there was probably nothing there. Who knows what
Right.
all happened
Farmland.
to
Right.
that land? Yeah, right.
Hmm.
And so, what about you guys? Enough hearing about my crazy stories.
Well, I mean, that's what we want to hear about. We want to hear
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
stories. We have talked to more people, and we've had people come up, and we just start talking to them, and then we mention something about, I don't know, whatever it is, and they bring up, oh, hey, we had moving guys come in and give us new furniture, and we told them, they saw something on the wall. I forget what, probably our sign, and they're like, you guys do investigations? And we're like, yeah. And he goes, I got a story for you. He goes off and tells us about his family's history, and it happens all the time.
Yeah.
If you're doing something like this where it's popular now, this is what people know that people believe. They're willing to tell the stories, and it's great to hear them because they're all different. But the ones that are better are the ones that aren't scared. It's like the ones that told, well, it felt like my grandma was there because you could smell her almost, and type things like that,
Right. So a little bit about me. Of course, people that listen to the show know by now, but I'm actually a Bigfoot researcher, and I started doing this because I've always loved the paranormal. I've always loved UFO stuff and all that other strange phenomenon that happens. And but before I started doing the show, everyone knew that I was into Bigfoot. So like, it was just so funny how people would even like in my family members, cousins and uncles would call me and say, "Hey, I had this happen to me," or "I saw this when I was a little kid."
Yeah.
Or one of my ex bosses, he came to work one day and he was getting tattooed, and one of the Bigfoot programs was on, and he told the artist, a guy at work, he goes out looking for Bigfoot, and the guy doing the tattoo goes, "Well, oh no, well they're real. My mom saw one in Oklahoma." He told her this whole story, and but it's
I
funny,
mean,
if you open your mouth and talk about it, people will, tell you their encounters and their stories and their experiences.
Do you go mostly over by Washington State, or do you kind of go around the central area?
No, I'm in Texas, so it's here
Okay.
in Texas, yeah, and
Okay.
mainly the San Luis Forest. But I've gone to like Louisiana and to other places here in Texas. I've been to Arkansas, where
Tennessee Wraith.
No.
the Legend of Boggy Creek. You guys are familiar with that movie, The Legend of Boggy Creek?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been to that. I've actually been on the Crabtree property, which is a famous property.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
I got a brother moving out to Tennessee sometime in the next 2 to 3 years ish. So when he goes out there, I'll be visiting him.
Cool, man. Yeah.
Just walk in the woods.
Yeah. See, and that's where I got the name of the title, Beyond the Woodline. From my perspective, there's more to do out beyond the woodline. So
cryptics. I mean, cryptics are actually kind of cool. I mean, I've always been kind of a fan of something you never see. There's enough out there. Why not?
Right.
Why can't it be something else that we've never had encounters with? Because humans don't go too deep into the woods.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, and like so when I go out to the Sam Houston, and a friend of mine told me, and he nailed it. He goes, "Man," you could put a T-Rex out here and no one would ever see it.
Yeah.
Right. Because the woods kind of take care of themselves anyway. You don't really see bones of even the big bears and that kind of a thing. It kind of
right. They've talked to park rangers who have been working the same park for 25 years, and they'll tell you that they never came across a carcass of a bear.
Wow.
Yep.
And speaking of the forest, something that I always say regarding Bigfoot is I think that there's a lot more paranormal stuff that goes out in the forest than what people realize and what people think. And I think when they hear footsteps, when they get stuff thrown at them, or they hear what they call the voices or the chatter, and that gets lumped in there with Bigfoot. And
right.
I personally think a lot of that is probably more paranormal than what people think.
Could be different languages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, think about the Indians. They lived in there.
Yeah.
Right.
They used the land wherever they were, and when they died, they buried them where they were.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but whenever you hear anything about that, it automatically goes to Bigfoot.
Right. Yeah. Especially if that's what's on your radar. I'm out here looking for Bigfoot. Something got thrown at me. It's got to be a Bigfoot, right?
It was Bigfoot. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But like I said, you hear the footsteps. Well, it's on 2 feet. It's got to be a Bigfoot, And I'm not saying it's not, but I just
Interesting.
think that we need to kind of widen our horizons when we're out there and open up our minds a little bit and
Right.
be
That's what
receptive to that there's probably
Yeah.
is paranormal stuff that goes on out in the woods. I
Mhm.
actually went out to this one little place and I found a grave. Yeah,
Oh.
it was out in the middle of the woods, and it had a little like a little wrought iron fence around it. And there actually was 2 graves.
Oh
There
my
was 2
gosh.
headstones. Yeah,
Settlers.
Yeah.
yeah.
You wonder if there was a family house somewhere nearby.
Well, someone had been keeping up with it. You could tell that it had been kept up with. So I wonder if it was like it had to be family, I would guess, or I don't think
Mhm.
the
I could
unless
see.
it's
I mean, if I had
Yeah.
found it, and I found it in disrepair, I probably would have stopped to fix it up.
yeah. And there were toys in there, like little children's toys. Yeah.
Oh, so people are visiting it. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm thinking that it is kids because it's a very small area. And like I said, there's a headstone on one side and a headstone on another. And they're
Mhm.
2 small headstones. And there's writing on it, but you can't make it
Can't
out
read
what it
it.
says.
Too old. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Oh, that's
that's
neat.
what I think. Yeah, so I think a lot more paranormal
Entire
stuff goes on.
cemetery near us that's real similar to that. There used to be over 200 headstones, and now there's less than 20. But people go there all the time and put little toys down because one of the headstones just says baby to it. It doesn't even have a name.
Oh,
And people go and put little toys and stuff down there all the time.
yeah, so someone says hi from V Team Paranormal.
Team Paranormal.
Yeah, cool.
Cool.
Another team out there. It's always good.
Yeah, it's always good. Yeah, it's always good to meet other people and kind of network a little bit. And that's what I'm glad I've started this show because, man, I've met so many great people, not just in the paranormal, but the UFO field and, psychics and remote viewers and,
Oh, that's interesting. That's fascinating.
Yeah, that would be the stuff I'd like.
That's fascinating. The remote viewing.
or,
Well, and now all the UFO people have now a validation because the Air Force is now branched off into that other division now.
right.
So there's no way that the government would put money towards that if there wasn't something out there.
Space
and then of course the Pentagon releasing the Tic Tac video.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff that's out there. But you know why they're doing it, don't you?
I think it's a head fake.
People are going to believe, so they don't care. At this point, they're like, hey, you know what? Either you see it or you don't.
Right.
But we're not hiding it anymore because that just brings out more.
Yeah.
I think they know a lot more than what they just released.
Oh yeah.
Most definitely.
And I'm almost willing to bet they've got better video, better pictures.
Oh yeah.
And they're going to release of course, the grainiest thing they've got.
Exactly.
Right.
It just breadcrumbing.
You can look at it, turn it this way or that way, and well, maybe it is, but it could also be just that, just a branch flying through the air or something.
Yeah, they're just going to give us breadcrumbs for now. So I guess at some point we just got to accept it and take it.
Yeah.
Eventually we'll get some good stuff, but it's going to be a while.
Yeah. Many years ago, it's probably been close to 20 years. I was out fishing with an older gentleman. I won't say his name. He's no longer part of my life. But we were fishing, and he points up and he says, "Hey, Joe, look!" And we saw this round disc right above us, right above our heads. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Of course, we didn't have any missing time, I don't think, but it was pretty cool.
My mom always said that she grew up in Chicago, down right in the middle of Chicago, and she said that there was one night she looked out her window and she saw something that she couldn't explain. It was perfectly cigar shaped. It was green, and it was lower than any plane was ever flying. And this was after the war, so it wasn't like Germany coming over or anything. She still claims that she saw something.
She probably did. Chicago's kind of known for having weird sightings and stuff like that. I think
we've got a lot of paranormal stuff.
Yeah, and I think maybe 3 or 4 years ago there was like a sighting of some kind of flying creature going on out there too.
Yeah, kind of like a Mothman almost.
Yeah.
That was
Come on,
different.
Rich. Come on, Rich. What do you got to say, Rich?
Not saying a thing. Not saying a thing. I think there was too much drinking going on that season, and that's why people saw him.
The moonshine was.
You know what? I do really like and appreciate that that you have Rich because he can keep people honest.
I try.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
like I said, there's things that are out there that I cannot debunk, but it may just be I don't have the technology to recognize it yet.
Right.
Kind of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
those grainy pictures. Those grainy pictures are being released because people don't have the technology to clean them up.
Right.
But once they start getting that technology to clean up that grainy picture and make it into a real picture, things are going to start showing.
Yeah.
Right. And in all honesty too, I think it's always good to have someone like you because it does keep you honest and it does keep people from having like everyone jump on board. Like as soon as one person says, "Hey, look, this is what this is," the whole crowd will kind of jump on. Yeah, you're right. You're right. This is what it is. And
Yeah,
you have Rich there. Rich kind of keeps everybody in check. So
I try.
He did. We were at a bar a few weeks ago.
It's a good thing.
It is a good thing. We were at a bar a few weeks ago, and this curtain in between would just flutter for absolutely no reason. And he talked to the owner of the building, and between talking to the owner, going in the kitchen, and finding out that the attic had a trap door right there, and the windows were open up there, and
there was airflow through the place.
There was airflow. He was we were able to debunk it,
Yeah.
and I don't think many others would have been able to because it was kind of convoluted, but it made sense after he finished his story.
Right.
It was simply the door, and the door jamb didn't reach to the bottom, so there was a gap underneath. You could see from the light, and then it was a straight shot through the bar into the kitchen, and the vent was right above the kitchen that was open. It was a vent for it. You don't have the kitchen without a vent, but they kept it open all the time. So that flow through of air. Now she said she saw one curtain flutter up, kind of flip over, and then come back, and that's like somebody was peeking inside, but we never got that to work. So,
right. That's interesting. So what places have you guys investigated that you like?
The one I liked, I'm not sure. I haven't. I mean, I like going to some of the cemeteries for me, but that's just the history. I don't usually get anything from a cemetery, but usually it's cool. The histories. Audra got freaked out once. She looked inside of a mausoleum and thought she saw a ghost standing in the middle of the mausoleum until you realized it was the Virgin Mary in a white statue.
Oh,
right in the middle. It made no sense. I was so excited. Gosh.
Sorry. Once again.
Yeah. There you go. Well, I think she would have been able to debunk that on her own after a few seconds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it took a few seconds, but darn, man. And it was all in white. It was like a white marble statue. So, oh, heck. It was cool. I enjoy helping people. We had a house where the woman wasn't sure if it was her dad that was there or her husband. And it took a couple weeks, but we figured out who it was. It put her mind at ease. And he also wanted to let her know that he was still around. And there was one morning she was having a really bad day. And I actually emailed her, which was not normal for us. And I said, look, I have to tell you this because your husband's driving me absolutely insane. But he's here and he wants you to know that he's with you. And she emailed me back and she's like, I'm having the worst day of my life. I woke up feeling completely despondent, worthless. I don't know why I'm even here. And then you send the email and it really brightened up the day. And I love that. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. So how did you receive that message?
Yeah. I'll let you tell it.
Through a song, actually. He had a favorite song. And I would hear it on I play music in the morning off of Spotify, which is not something that you pick your own music. It doesn't suggest like Pandora. If you're listening to this, it's going to suggest, well, since you like this song, you might like this one. And the one that I listened to isn't like that. And the song came on, which made no sense. It wasn't on my playlist. And then the next day I had gone to the store, and in the car, I'd go in between 2 or 3 radio stations, and it was on again. And this was not a current song. It was from 1993. I heard it 3 times that day. The next morning, I was listening again, and the song came on again, and it just kept repeating over and over and over again. So finally, I'm like, he's telling me something here. It didn't make any sense as to why it was happening that way. And after I told her this, it stopped completely.
Oh wow.
So that's just the way I interpreted it. It might not have happened that way, but that's the way I'm spinning it.
I can't debunk it, so
There you go. Yeah.
I wasn't in the car with her when that song came on, so I don't have any way of debunking any
Nope.
of it.
You can always call Spotify and talk to customer service, maybe find out.
Oh,
what's
there you
going
go. Explain to me why this happened.
on.
That might be a good choice.
It might be.
Not
Maybe
now.
there was a fluke that day. I don't know.
Yeah. So do you pick up anything like mentally or?
I sometimes I hear voices, or a lot of times I hear names.
Mhm.
But I feel like I call myself a medium in training wheels because I have stuff happen. I don't know how to do it. I don't know why it's happening, and I can't do it on command. It's just, sometimes I'll get a name, and does this name make any sense to you? And we were at a house, and I was having this weird vision of this guy who would be in the doorway. He'd walk to the bed, he'd walk to the closet, back to the bed, back to the doorway. And I said, I don't understand what this means, but let me tell you what the guy looks like. And the woman there said, well, that would have been my son-in-law. He passed away. Okay, well, what's the reasoning for why he's walking where he's walking? Well, the son of this guy was living in that bedroom, and he had a bunch of the father's goods and stuff left over in the closet. So that's why he was doing that little jaunt. So we're in a different room, and I said, I've got a name like Frank or Francis or Francine. And she says, well, my son-in-law's middle name was Francisco. And I said, well, I'll take that. But I don't have any reason for it. It just happens. I have no control over it at all.
Bitch.
Debunk that one.
There's things I won't debunk, like her dowsing rods. She uses them and she gets answers. I cannot debunk those because she's not moving them. I can see that when we film it. I can see she's not making them move because her hands are dead still. Mm-hmm. They are in a sleeve. They don't move on their own. They will stay whatever position you put them in. They'll stay unless something acts on them. So I have no idea. And those dowsing rods befuddle me.
So
I can't get them to work. So if I take control of them, they just spin in a circle.
Right. There you go. Yeah, that'd probably be me. I'll probably poke my eye out.
Yeah.
So Rich, you do believe in paranormal. You believe something happens to us after we pass?
Yeah. I mean, there's too many. I mean, you think about the universe.
Right.
We aren't even a dot in the universe itself.
Right.
So why can't there be so much more out there that we just don't understand yet? Mm-hmm. And whether you call it ghosts, paranormal, cryptics, whatever you want to call it, why can't it exist? Yeah. You can't tell me that something didn't go on a different shoot in the evolution cycle if it was evolution that you believe in. If it was God made everything, then why didn't he make something that was something that we're going to have to find out later? Right. I mean, it goes with this. There's a natural flow to everything. And if they're there, it's part of the natural order. We just don't understand it enough yet, or we're not highly enough evolved to see it. Right. So I say, yeah, it could be.
What was your most?
We were both Catholic, so it's kind of, we believe that there is an afterlife, that we're going to heaven and we're going to go see God. So,
are you both Christians?
Yeah, Roman Catholic.
Okay, Catholics. Okay, yeah, I was raised Catholic. Yeah. So Rich, what was your most validating moment that there was something out there, or did you need that?
I didn't need a validation. I've always believed that. I mean, even when I was a kid, I used to run in the woods I say woods, but they're tame woods. It's parks that, get a wooded area. And once you get past the brush, you're in the woods, but it's open woods down under there, So, but I've been running in the woods all my life. And the creek, all this stuff that's been made. I mean, who would have ever thought a crayfish would evolve? Have you ever seen a crayfish?
Yeah.
Ugliest things. But
they're good, though.
They do taste good. I'll give you that. They're cute. I wouldn't eat them out of my creek. But yeah, I mean, you look at the things and how they evolved, and what they are now, and some of them, well, like the shark, it's a perfect thing. You know, you can't get rid of it. As long as men don't hunt it to extinction, it'll always be around.
Like cockroaches.
Yeah, those two.
Alligators and crocodiles.
There you go. So, you know, who's to say that this is the last form for the human race?
Right. I think we've got a long way to go, but I think we'll have some changes eventually.
Right.
You know, I had somebody say it once before, and I think it was one of my brother's engineers. They said the energy never disperses, or energy never goes away. It just changes form. Something like that. Yeah. So my energy is going to go somewhere.
Right.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. And so do you guys believe like in reincarnation?
Why not? It's possible. I can't say that it can't be done.
I don't know, but being raised as a Christian, you're taught that you go to the afterlife, so that the body is just a vessel that's there.
Right.
So I'm not sure that you can. I think you almost have to believe one or the other.
Yeah, I believe both.
Okay.
Yeah. I think spirits have a choice whether they want to stay or come back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so. And because you watch so many like YouTube videos of like little kids who like will talk about a past life, what they used to do, or what they've done.
Fascinating. Yeah,
that's just the craziest thing. You know.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the craziest thing I've ever seen. And I love watching that stuff, so I totally believe in that myself.
I agree with you, Joshua. Energy reverberates.
There you go.
That's a good one. I like that.
So I was going to tell you guys a little story when I asked you about how you got your messages. My mom had a party in April. She turned 72. My dad, he's been gone for 10 years. He passed away. So at the party, it was on a Sunday. That Monday, my brother calls me and is like, "Hey, I was talking to Madison, which is my niece. She had just turned 15.
Mm-hmm.
He said, Madison came up to me at the party and said, "Hey, I keep hearing Grandpa's voice, which is my dad."
Nice.
And he's like, "Well, what is he saying?" He's like, he said that he's happy that Grandma had a party and that she deserves it, and that he was glad that we threw her the party, right? And my brother, well, that's good. I'm glad he's telling you that, So that was on a Monday when he called me the day after the party. Tuesday they were all going to the cemetery. My uncle, which is my dad's twin brother, and my sister and my brother, they were all going to the cemetery. But it had rained that day, and it gets real muddy there. So my uncle James called my brother and was like, "Hey, let's not go because it gets muddy there. We'll just have to reschedule it."
Mm-hmm.
So my brother was like, "Yeah, okay." And my uncle goes, "But I want to tell you something that happened at the party on Sunday." And he's like, "Yeah." And my uncle goes, Your aunt, which is my uncle's wife, he goes, "Your aunt heard your dad's voice."
Oh my gosh.
And he told your aunt that he was happy that she was having a party, she deserved it, and that when her time comes, that he was going to be there for her.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So two people, and my niece and my aunt, they didn't talk. They didn't know that the other one had this experience.
Yeah. And it was the same message. That is so cool.
Yeah. It was good. Yeah, it was. So what do you make of that?
Not much of
it.
Absolutely. I think it's possible.
Oh yeah.
Why not? Yeah. Kids are more open to kids. The younger they are, the more open they are to that experience. Mm-hmm. The aunt, I would never say anything about, no, it didn't happen. No, to her, it happened.
It happened.
Right.
There was a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got we have a picture of my dad when my mom passed. No?
No.
All right.
We probably shouldn't talk about that. We don't have permission.
It was our picture.
No.
It was just confirmation that my mother-in-law was still with us.
Right. Okay.
It's a cool way of doing it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
No, I definitely believe that happened, especially because of the same message. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
here and he's ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I thought it was a nice message. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. My dad was he was a great guy and great father. So
Mhm.
for him to come through like that, which for me personally, he's always kind of been around.
Mhm.
Um,
That's nice.
yeah, yeah. And me and him were really close. He was my best friend, so I've
Oh.
always can kind of feel when he's around. So
Mhm.
and he's always had his little ways of letting me know he's around, like flipping a light switch, off or on.
Mhm.
And that happened when I was in San Antonio, and I just knew it was him. And when I came back here to Houston, and I was telling my mom about it, and I was in the kitchen, and she was on the other side of the kitchen. We had There's like a little bar, and me and her were talking. I was telling her about the light switch going off, and right as I finished the story, the light switch in the kitchen came on.
Oh
Flipped
my
on.
gosh.
Yeah, he's just letting you know he's still hanging
He's still
around.
there. He's listening.
He's
Yeah.
watching.
So I
We're
have
making
no,
mistakes.
oh yeah, but I have no doubt that that it was him.
Yeah.
Like I said, I can always tell when he's around
Mhm.
because he was a jokester in life, and I think he's a jokester now. So
Yeah, I don't think the personality really changes
right, right.
after passing. I guess if you were a son of a gun in life, that's the way you're going to be after you die too. But
Yeah, yeah. You hear that all the time too.
Mhm.
Yeah, especially in some of these, I guess, more darker haunting areas. You know.
Well,
Mhm.
I think people focus on the darkness and not so much the light. The darkness is what scares them. The
Right,
light doesn't scare you.
right.
So you're focusing on what scares you. Uh, I think if
Yeah.
more people open their eyes in the light, they might have more experiences like you and your dad.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Have you guys ever been scared?
Several times, but only I mean, most of the time when I was a kid.
Right.
Not on an investigation. I haven't. Some of the things that come through the door in the bedroom, yeah. But we had a case where I got a little frightened at first. Um, the bedroom of this little boy supposedly had some sort of demon in a closet. Demons. Everyone talks about demons, and there's, probably because of everything that's on TV, but we haven't exactly run into anything. But there was supposedly a demon in this little kid's closet. So we're sitting in the room. I'm doing the dowsing rods, and one of my partners was videotaping, and he had his back up against the bedroom closet. And all of a sudden, there was this huge growl. And I'm all excited, thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to see this thing. And our cameraman goes, that was my stomach.
That's good.
I was so excited. I thought we were really going to see something.
And I will admit that I have been the subject of excitement in a similar way. We did an investigation at a church. I guess it was still a church, wasn't it?
It was a church. It was a former funeral home that was turned into a church.
Right. And I was literally, we were there. I had worked a full day, so I was up at 6 a.m, and it was getting around 1 o'clock in the morning again. I was tired. I put my head down a little bit. They low snoring. Everybody got so excited they thought they heard a growl, and then my wife goes, that's my husband snoring.
That's just Richard snoring.
They got quite excited. I woke up because of them.
It was
That time she debunked it. That's pretty good.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
We do trade off occasionally.
That's pretty good.
I don't want to see what she sees though. Never.
Yeah. What's like the most, I guess, pleasant or happiest thing you've ever experienced?
Your gram or?
No, this would have been. There was this little tiny little old lady, and she would peek herself. This would be in our bedroom. She'd peek herself around the corner, and then she'd jump back again. And this went on for months, and I could never get her to come out. She was It seemed like she was terrified. She just would kind of do this, or she'd stick a toe out, and she'd never come out. And so I asked a friend of mine who's a medium, what can I do to bring her out? and I have that her name's Eleanor, but what can I do to bring her out? And she said, well, put a teacup and saucer in the room. Bring something in that she would relate to. So I did. And nothing happened for the longest time. And one night, the third eye opened, and I look, and she's on the floor, and she's got the teacup and saucer, and she's having a tea party with her girlfriend. She was just waiting for her friend to die so that they could cross over together. So that was the cutest thing.
You know what's yeah. But you know what's really funny is that when you were talking about that, I don't know why I was thinking of having her in for tea. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, I was thinking that you should have her in for tea.
Yeah.
And so it worked. And the teacup is still up there just in case anybody else needs anything.
There you go. Yeah. I like that. That's a good story.
That was very sweet.
So what does like your circle of friends and family think about what you guys do?
I would have to say, okay, so she's an only child.
Okay.
I have 12. There's 12. My parents had 12 children.
They didn't have TV, huh?
No, it's the dogs.
Well, no. He said we didn't have TV.
Oh, you didn't have TV. Sorry.
No, they had it. Sit. Anyway.
He was a salesman, so he would come home every so often,
No. He traveled a lot for his business. And he said, I don't understand why you guys don't have more kids. I would come home, pull the shades, and your mom would be pregnant. And the pictures, you could see in the pictures that he's always stunned. Let me let him out.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, so
I'll let him
the
out.
whole family, my whole family is one on the other. They're either going to be fully believing it, or they're going to be, no way, it doesn't happen. Get out. All right. So they'll be, they'll do one or the other. Now, most of the in-laws, the female in-laws, they would love to have something. They probably would love to go on the investigations with Audra. But the family itself, they're kind of iffy. But when it comes down, I mean, my mother passed at 66. And that had to be the weirdest number of coincidences in our history as a family. And we did write them all down. Yeah. There's about 10 or 12 of them, all different types of things that happened, all after she passed. Well, not all of it. One before she passed. Well, we had a priest come in. All right, I'll leave that one away. But anyway, have
permission from the family.
Oh, it's my story too.
They're supportive of us. They're whether they believe or not, they support us. And if we have presentations or something, and it's in the area that they live, they'll come out and see it and stuff. So
we did Lyle.
His family's real supportive of us, and my friends, they're actually in the group for the most part.
Okay, that's good. I just thought of this crazy story. I've only told it a couple of times, but I'll tell you guys. So I had one of my uncles passed away. So like in my dad's family, it was a big family. There was 11 kids in his family.
Yeah, great.
So he had and actually he had 7 sisters. So he had 7 brothers. And but all his brother-in-laws were they're my uncles. I don't see them as my the guy that married my aunt. I mean, they're my uncles, and my dad looked at them as his brothers also. And so when my uncle passed away, and him and my dad and his twin brother with because they were gonna be pallbearers, they went to the funeral home and they were like, "Hey, can we see like a sample of his suit? Because we want to get a suit that matches his suit." And so the guy brought back like a little square piece of material, a little piece of cloth from the suit, and said, "Here, this is what he's going to be buried in." So my dad, my uncle, they went to the men's warehouse or something. I don't know. They went to go buy a suit, and when my dad went to go try his suit on, he gave the cloth to my uncle and told my uncle, "Here, hold on to this while because my dad wanted that little piece of cloth." And somewhere along the line, my uncle gave it to the sales guy who was helping them. And after they left, they were driving back home, and the store was already closing when they were there, so it was already closing. They're on the freeway, and my dad thought about it. He goes, "Hey, did you get that piece of cloth?" And my uncle was like, "No, I forgot. I gave it to the salesman." And my dad was like, "Damn it, I really wanted that, You know,
Yeah.
he just wanted to keep it and hold on to it. And my uncle said like a couple months later, my dad called him and was like, "Hey, what happened to that piece of cloth?" And he goes, "I told you, I didn't have it. I gave it to the sales guy and I forgot to get it back."
Yeah.
He says, "Well, I'm looking at it and it's right here on my dresser."
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. It was gone for like 2 months, and then all of a sudden it pops up on his dresser.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Yeah,
kind of cool.
yeah. Explain that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can't explain that.
yeah,
Coming from a salesman.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Unless
Those are
after two
always
months
those
the
are always
salesman
good.
realized he had it, and we found my dad's information and brought him home. You know, brought it home to him. Yeah,
That is so
yeah,
cool.
yeah. That's one of the weirdest things that ever happened. But
We've had
that
people who talked about how they found things in the middle of the floor, like they're just walking through the middle of the floor, and all of a sudden there's a jewelry box of a
right,
person who had passed away just in the middle of the floor.
right. Yeah,
They're trying to tell you something.
Stuff.
Sorry.
yeah. I think
It's dinner time.
Sorry.
they see a ghost.
I'm gonna have
I
to.
think Timmy fell down a well. I think Timmy fell down a well.
Mhm.
That's what they're telling you. But yeah, I think you know, whatever you want to call it, the other side, the spirit world, or what have you. I think they're able to do what they want to for the most part. You know, whether it's manipulate matter or just move things around, and you know,
I personally feel that they can come and go as they please, that it's not so much that they're over here because they're stuck and they can't move on. I like to think that they've been there and that they come back to visit.
right. And of course, anytime there's like a rip in the veil, whether it's a portal or whatever you want to call it, I think,
Right,
or if they have access to it, if they can just do it on their own, you know. But
right, right.
but I definitely believe like there are portals or openings that you know anything can come through, really.
I mean, that's why they talk about Ouija boards being a horrible thing because you're opening up a door and you don't know what's coming through. But quite literally, just saying, "Is there anybody here?" You're opening up a door.
Right. Yeah.
Turning
Yeah.
on an audio recorder, it's the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah. Once you open up that line of communication, you're opening it up for anything to come through.
Right. You just have to know how to close the door back up again and you're okay. But I don't see Ouija boards being any worse than anything else that's out there.
Yeah. Doing EVPs or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. Well, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you hope to accomplish, or what do you hope to contribute to this field?
I would love to get a full body apparition on video and just then have here's proof that this actually does exist.
Right.
Because we've got so much audio evidence and we have a couple of videos of a chair moving or a shadow passing.
Right.
But we've never gotten the full body.
The one who's peeking out around the corner, Ken. Forgot to hit.
Yeah, we were over at Waverly Hills in Kentucky, the old sanatorium.
Right.
And one of our guys had a thermogram, and he had one of the real expensive ones where you could take pictures with it. And he's pointing it down the hallway, just scanning. And he's like, "Oh, okay, well, there's Nancy." And I turned to look behind me, and I'm like, "Nancy's behind me." So that wasn't Nancy. And he's like, "Oh my God." And he goes to go back again, and it's gone.
Huh. Oh, that was
So,
cool.
I mean, we could have had it, we could have
Right.
had
Yeah.
the evidence.
Yeah, I like
I
that.
would just love to have evidence that can't be refuted that this is actually true. This actually is here.
So, what do you guys have coming up as far as investigations go?
We have a real interesting one coming up in a couple of weeks. It's like a missing person case almost. The FBI is looking into it, and we're going to go and see if we can find either proof that the person is with us or not. Hopefully, maybe we can get some information we can share.
Yeah.
We're going to Villisca, Iowa in September. And that's on my paranormal bucket list to go to the Villisca Axe Murder House.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to be doing that in September. So we're really looking forward to that. And then we're going to try and do a couple cemetery crawls by the end of summer, hopefully.
Yeah, well, they have those here in Houston. I haven't got a chance to go to one, but I hope to.
I love that. And it's what do you want to do this weekend? Well, let's go to the cemetery.
There
Let's
you
just
go.
look at. I just love looking at the headstones and the old age and the different pictures and stuff that's on
Yeah,
it.
there's a beauty to it. It's not necessarily creepy. But, there is a beauty to it. And
There is, right. And each cemetery has a feel for it. Sometimes you can go into one and it's completely peaceful. And you walk over to the next one and you're like, there's a lot of unrest going on over here. Somebody's not happy. It just doesn't feel right.
Joshua asked, "You have any Florida dates?"
No, nothing. No. We kind of stick around Illinois and Wisconsin, Indiana, Iowa, kind of.
Yeah, stuff within driving distance.
Right. But I'd love to go to the St. Augustine Lighthouse. I think that's in Florida. That would be awesome.
Yeah. I've actually been to the Mineral Wells here in Texas.
Okay.
Yeah. What's it called? Haunted Hill House. That's the one I've been to.
Oh, okay. I've heard of that one.
Yeah, I've been there, and of course they got Lavaca County Jail, which I haven't been to, but I need to go. And then there's a place down in
Jails are fun.
yeah. There's actually a lot of stuff that goes on here in Texas, especially with like San Antonio, the Alamo, and there's a couple of
Right.
old hotels, and
Right.
there's a lot of stuff that goes on here. But
there's a huge history out in Texas, definitely.
but, well, cool guys, we're coming up on the end of the hour. You guys want to tell anyone how to get in touch with you? You guys have a Facebook page?
We do. Facebook.com/WSPINV. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We have a YouTube page, but we don't have a whole lot going on with it yet.
Okay, yeah. Anytime you guys want to share something, feel free to tag me in it or share it on my page, whatever you guys want to do.
We'll do.
I'd be happy to share it for you. Well, cool. Did Rich get taken away by the dogs?
Yeah, come on back here for a second.
All right, I'm coming back. Now they got their food. They haven't.
The dog whisperer over here.
Feeding time.
Okay. Well, cool, Rich. I just wanted to tell you guys goodbye and good night, and thanks for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate it. You guys are great. Did an awesome job.
Great. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I love talking about this stuff.
He just loves talking.
Well, that too.
Yeah,
my job does kind of bend towards that slant anyway. So
I'm the same way, man. I can run my mouth all day long.
I think I got it from my mother. She she never met a person that she didn't call friend.
That's true.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, that was good.
You know what's funny? I can go to the grocery store. I can go to the doctor's office or auto shop, and people will talk to me, and I'll talk to them, and they like tell me like all their deep dark secrets, and I'm like,
they want to tell. They want to tell. Yeah. That's what it is. You're like a confessor.
Face. Yeah, you have a very friendly face.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I got an ex who will say something different, but anyway. But well, good guys. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it again, and you guys keep in touch. And like I said, if you guys want to share anything with me or on my page, man, feel free to tag me in it.
Okay.
I'll share it for you guys.
That sounds good.
And, okay, guys, and everyone, especially you, Joshua. You had so many comments. I really appreciate that a lot, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And everybody have a good night.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.